Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Chesapeake Civitan District Recruitment Webinar Series. We're really excited to have a guest speaker today, one that is very, very familiar with doing events and exhibiting at events and helping vendors exhibit at events. Dani Gurrie is with us today from tots2tweens.com. And without further ado, we're going to turn it over to Dani. And so welcome, Dani Gurrie.
Thank you so much, Mark. I really appreciate it. I'm very excited. I've been wanting to do something similar to this for my clients for a long time. So it's really exciting to have this opportunity to do this, and I can't wait to chat with you guys and hopefully help you guys in your recruitment specifically. Briefly about me, I'm the founder of tots2tweens.com. We launched in January 2008. And tots2tweens.com is a free online resource for families. We cover from southern Pennsylvania to southern Virginia, eastern West Virginia, and all the areas in between. I've actually been doing events, well, I don't want to date myself too much here, but probably since the late 80s, early 90s, I started in radio, but more specifically in Frederick County for the last 10 years. I've really been passionate about providing affordable family entertainment because as a mom with 2 kids, we didn't, as a family, there weren't a lot of things we could do. There were a lot that my husband and I could do, and there were some things that the kids could do, but really encompassing ideas that the entire family could do. And with the downturn in the economy in 2008, when we were launching, we really wanted to make things affordable. So I've learned a lot along the way, made a lot of mistakes, watched a lot of clients invest a lot of money and make mistakes, and that's kind of gotten us to where we are today. And hopefully we're going to give you the benefit of all of those learnings so that you guys can take advantage of some opportunities and really help grow your recruitment. So the first thing when you guys are deciding to do vendor events is to come up with your objective. And it's really, really important to clarify what that objective is and to come to that determination. So whether this is education or recruitment about Civitan, whether it's raising money and collecting donations, or whether it's getting volunteer registrations, which is collecting emails and addresses and contact information, you're going to want to make sure you know exactly what you're trying to achieve on that event. And each one of these objectives may actually have a different setup. So this is really the starting point to determine how you're going to move forward before the event. And you can also choose to have more than one objective. You may want to try to do all 3. The one thing that I find is by clarifying what you're trying to do, everything else will flow down from that, including the training and things like that you're going to do for your staff. So you're going to want to make sure, get that written down, and really continue to revisit whatever that objective is throughout the process. And I would certainly start, you're going to want to give yourself time. When you determine what, hopefully you have at least a couple of months before an event to figure out what this objective is going to be, and then your planning can progress from there. Creating your display is really important. You want to create a display to reinforce and enhance that objective, right? So if we've decided that our objective is to, going back to this, we want to educate people and recruit people to be volunteers for Civitan, and we want to actually get volunteer information. So we want to get them to sign up, or at least get contact details so that we can follow forward. We want to make sure that whatever we have on display at the event is going to enforce that particular thing. You want to have everything with you, like supplies, sign-up sheets, signage, and all of that. Everything should also be branded with the Civitan logo. Very important, so when people pass by, even if you don't get a chance to chat with them, they know who you are. I see people all the time who don't have a logo. I mean, you wouldn't know. Just a table set up with a couple brochures on it is just not going to stop people and get them to interact with you. You should also have some sort of handout so that if you're engaged with one person, but other people are stopping by and kind of slowing down, you have the opportunity to hand something out that either that they can fill out while they're still there and can turn into you, or it has kind of reinforced what you're trying to achieve and an easy way for those people to get in touch with you or to register. So for instance, it should have a very easy link to either go to a website, or you can say call or text your contact person your information to sign up to help the Civitan organization at a particular event. You definitely want to call to action. It's like closing the sale. So when you talk with people, you want to make sure you say, hey, our deadline is 1 week, or I need to get 50 people to sign up today to help us at this event coming up in the next week. You want to state that to the people you're talking to. It's going to keep them more engaged, and they know that you kind of have a sense of urgency and a reason that they should actually stop and talk to you and hear more about what you guys are doing. You want to make sure the people working your booth, first of all, are the most engaging, excited, passionate, knowledgeable people that you have available. And each one of your people may have a different strength. So if you have the people who will stop and talk to everybody, you definitely want them to kind of draw people in and bring them into the booth. But you do not want to have the people who are sitting on their phones, not engaging, kind of waiting for people to talk to them. You have a very short window of opportunity to reach out to perhaps thousands of people that are passing by, and you want to make sure that you're drawing as many of them in as possible. One thing that we do quite often is to have incentives for the staff to get as many signups as they can. So the first person to get 50 volunteers to sign up, we'll buy you lunch today, or we'll provide you a gift card, or whatever that is. And be sure that you're well staffed. So if you have an event planner, you're going to want to make sure to get as much information from the event planner as to the numbers of people that they're expecting and what the demographic is, so that everything that you have is tailored toward that event. So for instance, with Tots to Tweens, our events are focused and tailored to families. We get quite a large turnout, so our events will generally draw between 3,500 and 5,000 people. You're obviously not going to talk to all of them, but if you know that we are drawing mostly families, mostly moms with their kids, then having some sort of stopping point that engages the kids is going to allow the parents the time and focus to speak with you. So things like kids love pulling ducks out of a duck pond, and if they're numbered on the bottom, one of your staff members could be interacting with the kids. So one person's strength might be to entertain kids, while your salesperson, you're really passionate, vibrant, well-spoken other representative can be educating the mom about what exactly you're looking for and reinforcing that objective that you've decided earlier. And you may have a third person to help kind of monitor those that are passing by, because it's great if you can get a group of people together, kind of give them your whole pitch about what you guys are there to achieve, and the kids are all entertained in the meantime. So there is kind of a multi-focus thing going on all at the same time, and it's really important to make sure that you have enough people so that you're able to not waste any potential interest by simply just being understaffed. Be engaging. This is probably the biggest thing. Even if you just had a folding table with a couple of brochures on it, the best thing that you can do is to make sure that the people who are at your events are engaging and inviting. So no cell phone usage other than posting to social media, which is actually huge. Utilizing your outlets like Facebook Live, Twitter, Snapchat, and other technology to let people who are already loyal to the Civitan group know what you're out doing. This is going to reinforce to them and all of their friends and followers what's actually happening. So it really does help to kind of create this environment of fun and invitedness. You know, you want to get people to come out and see what you're doing and engage with you. And it also is great when you're looking for volunteers. One way by utilizing social media is showing people all the different types of fun events that you're attending could help you in your recruitment process as well. The other thing that I would do is on your social media, obviously inviting people who are already loyal to the Civitans to the events, and at the same time reinforcing that objective online by saying, hey, come on down and see us. We're here until 3 p.m. If you can't make it, please send this link to all of your friends, as we're recruiting for 50 volunteers for an event, you know, that we're doing coming up in 4 weeks. So again, you're reinforcing your objective, you're reaching out beyond the event itself, and getting other people involved is really going to help to achieve whatever particular numbers you're trying to reach. The post-event analysis, this is the thing that most of my clients who have done events with me for probably 3 to 5 years don't ever do, and this is the most important part. The post-event analysis is where all of the meat and potatoes lies, and I'm always stunned at the number of vendors who never take it any further than 3 o'clock when that event ends and they're done. So you want to, number one, be sure to follow up with all your leads, and again, reinforcing your objective. So for instance, if your objective was to collect the names and addresses or email addresses or phone numbers for people who may be interested in volunteering at an event for Civitan, you want to make sure you call or email or write every single one of those people immediately following the event. Specifically, if you're calling them or if you're emailing them, you want to get an idea of their response rate and where they are at the particular time that you've contacted them. So for instance, if our objective was we are planning an event coming up from, you know, in 1 month where we need 50 volunteers, and you call all of these people the day after or 2 days after an event, in talking with them, you're going to reinforce that objective. Hey, we met you this weekend. It was really fantastic. Thank you so much for giving us your contact details. We would love to know if you will be available from 1 to 3, you know, on May 5th for the event that we have coming up, and wait for their response. Based on their response, you're going to want to kind of classify each lead into kind of a 30, 60, 90-day basket for follow-up, right? So this allows your lead to live on beyond the immediate contact, and you'll know that you're going to put these people kind of into these piles so that you can then determine where they are in their engagement with Civitan. These leads may not all volunteer. However, a lot of these leads may end up in piles that could be great for a donation. You know, that they're interested in giving money. They don't have a lot of time, so you're going to kind of want to earmark those for any donation drives that you have coming up. Some may be more interested in things like sponsoring or doing other things within the organization, so they kind of go into a different pile as well. So you really want to analyze, based on the 300 leads that you got in an event, kind of where everybody falls, because their value is going to be based differently on how they're going to interact with you in the future. And then you want to calculate that response rate. So we can calculate, hey, our goal was to get 50 volunteers in a 3-hour period, and we ended up with 65 people, okay? And then based on the baskets and the piles that you've kind of sorted these people into and the value we've assigned, we have an exact kind of monetary value that we can place on the response rate for that event. So then you want to evaluate on as well with the number of leads that you got, the actual event itself. So you want to kind of have a debrief with your team on the event that you attended, how was it in size and scope and audience, so that in future you guys can decide if this is an event you absolutely would love to do again, or if you need to look for another event because of the demographic or the attendance or whatever it was didn't meet your needs. And then finally, you're going to want to do a cost analysis, because even free events come with a cost, right? You have to print materials, you might have handouts, you might have prizes that you've invested in to give away. So you need to figure out how much it actually cost you. And I would actually take that one step further. And even though you may have volunteers, you want to calculate the manpower hours that were required for that particular event. So you have setup time, you have event time, you've got teardown time, and all of the hard costs, which is your materials and all of that as well. And then you want to find out how much it cost versus how much you were able to get back based on the leads that you received and their value. And then you can make a great decision about whether or not that was a good event for you guys to attend, and whether or not you'd want to attend that one again. The event opportunities that we have offered, my company Tots to Tweens has offered to Civitan, are coming up in April. We also have some events in August, which are back to school events, and also in October, which I know, speaking with Mark and Denise, that kind of fall within some of the things that you guys are doing. And so we would love to take this and put it into practice and actually make case studies based on the information you guys have received, based on additional training, how you're able to actually put this in practice, measure the results, and see if, you know, these types of things are worthwhile or where we can help you to be successful. So if each of your organizations lets me know, we can actually, you know, help you a little bit further on these particular events coming up. Mark and Denise have said, you know, one of the things that we want to make sure that you guys do is having something that stops traffic, that gets people interested, and obviously providing the balloon creations at a table. That is a fantastic stoppage. Kids love it. You have a little bit of time while your balloon artist is working to educate the parents who are there about the organization and what your objective is. And this lovely lady has decided to provide this service for you at your table, and I would definitely recommend that you guys do this. I know that there are some other opportunities with selling things like popcorn and all of that sort of thing. All of those are fantastic. There are some malls that will not allow certain things, so we just need to make sure that whatever you guys are going to provide, that we make sure we have it clear with the places that we're working on specifically. But I can't think of one event person who wouldn't love to have this being offered at a booth space, because it's another activity. It's something that most event planners, including myself, will utilize in marketing. So we will push people to your booth to say, during my marketing, I would say, hey, don't forget to stop by the Civitan booth and get your free balloon creature, you know, created. And they're handing those out today. That is obviously going to create a lot of traffic and interest for the event planner, which is, you know, one more expense that event planner will not have to incur.
Hey, Dani, we have a question, if you don't mind.
Nope, absolutely. Go ahead.
So Carmen's asking about, is it better to have like a form, maybe on a clipboard or something, that the person fills out themselves, or do we kind of interview the person and take down their name and information? What would you recommend?
Well, great question. And I will say this, in all my years of watching and doing both myself, transcribing people's handwriting is one of the worst things ever, right? So I love writing things myself. When you're doing that, however, and I do think it's great if you have mini clipboards and you have your form and you're just asking, hey, let me just ask you a couple of questions, and you're filling stuff out. It takes a lot of time, however, so you need more people kind of in front of your booth. Now, one of my clients is Mary Kay, the beauty brand, and she brings 3 consultants with her who stand in front of their booth with those clipboards, and she is able to get 200 to 300 leads in 3 hours. So it is definitely possible, but they write their own, the Mary Kay representatives record all the information, because people, consumer-wise, would tend to tell you correct information and would tend to not write correct information. So if you want to kind of eliminate dud email addresses or phone numbers, my recommendation would be to have your people record the information. Also, if you have people at your clubs who are really good at technology, having some sort of online form or a laptop where you can actually type, if you have somebody who's really good at data entry, that's a quick and easy way to get people to get their information and record it in a way that you can actually track and is more accurate. Another thing that we've done at Tots to Tweens is people have had to, maybe either download an app or check in or like our Facebook page, because in that way you're gauging interest through social media. If that's a strength of your club, utilizing social media means you generally, once somebody likes a page, most people don't go back and unlike something. So it's another good way to get engagement. So while they're standing there and you're kind of writing down their information, you want to make sure you're always promoting other ways that your club interacts with people through social media. Hey, don't forget to like us on Facebook. We have a lot of great information there as well, and it gives you another way to engage with those people.
What about giving away a prize? So if they sign up or you get their name and you put it like in a jar or something like that, yeah, are those beneficial? And is there a value that a minimum value you should do?
I always think those things are great. I think, I would probably stop for a $50 Amazon card. I might not stop for a $10 McDonald's certificate, right? So I would really ask your event people what type of, who their demographics are, and really play it towards them. Another great thing may be, like at my events, there's a lot of parents with small kids. So sometimes it's great to have something that the parents would really love, but other times it's great to have something the kids would really love, because they are going to actually engage with the parents for you to stop. So for instance, if you're giving away, let's say if you have a partnership with somebody who might have access to a free birthday party at an indoor play center or something like that, maybe you can get that donated. That might have a value of like $300. That is going to be great for the parents and the kids. So it really depends on your the attendance at the event and what might attract those people. Again, the information that you're going to want to collect for the winner, right? So the one thing I've always found an issue is giving away something during an event is virtually impossible, because you have no way to announce a winner. You have no way to follow up then. So what I might do is say, hey, register now, we'll draw a winner next week, and we will contact the winning family. What I usually recommend that my clients do, especially, if it's multiple things, or you may have one big gift certificate, but 5 maybe smaller prizes, utilizing that as an opportunity to engage with people, saying, oh, you didn't win our grand prize, but we do have, another prize that we'd love to share with you. So that also works and kind of spreads the volume a little bit.
Great. There's Joanne O'Toole created a Google app for the Market Street Masters that had drop downs and things like that. And she actually is volunteering that she could create a Google app for us to be able to use. And the nice thing about that too is I think if you're using an iPad, let's say, and you have this Google app, you could have drop downs that say, you know, this person's interested in volunteering, or they're interested in membership, or they're interested. So it's something that the individual may not select or write down, but the person who's engaging with them would be able to indicate what interest level they may have and what particular specific thing that they're interested in.
That is fantastic. I think personally, I'm a big techie, so I think utilizing technology is a fantastic way to kind of expedite and get information and get a volume of information across. So even having kind of multiple things for some people would be great. So if you have at your booth that someone on an iPad, or maybe two people on an iPad, but you still accept things handwritten, that also works. But yeah, I think that's fantastic.
Dani, I don't know if you can quickly go back up. I wanted to show one of the exhibits that you had that had the tablecloth and then the things in the background. Yeah, this one here, especially the one on the right. A tablecloth with a logo or some type of banner that could be used on a table. And I know in some cases the tables are different sizes, but can you recommend a place and give us an idea of a cost of what a tablecloth like that would be, or one of those stand-up things in the background?
Yep, I actually can. So tables generally, if an event person is providing a table or a venue they're either 6 or 8 feet. Usually an event planner will tell you what the table size is going to be. I've got a couple of suppliers where I could help your organizations who are interested to get the full-size table covering for a 6-foot or 8-foot table with the logo on the front. The way that is going to be about $50. If you're looking at something a little bit more affordable, actually what we did at Tots to Tweens recently is we got, on the left side you can see it's a royal blue table covering, and then I just bought a little runner that actually drapes over the table. So then it doesn't matter if it's a 6-foot or 8-foot table, has our logo on it. It's about 4 feet wide. And those are about $30. The stands, the printed extension stands are fantastic as well. Those stand 6 feet tall. They're freestanding, so you don't have to worry about trying to hang a banner, especially in a mall where you don't have really anything behind you. Those can be about $120, between $90 and $120. We can get those done, and they're permanent, so you can take them around. They come in these great cases, so you can reuse them. I actually just got of our own, and you can see kind of in the left screen, I got 3 printed, and then I got 1 that I utilize for different events. So you can actually just print the banner itself, and the stand and the retractable part can be interchanged if you want to make it something seasonal that you might use only in March or only in October, but you know you're going to use it year in and year out. Those are a good value as well.
That's great. And those are costs that maybe then, if you're going to do a lot of these exhibits or events, you can do that. How about a tent? Is there good idea to brand a tent, or if you're now an outdoor thing, or is it better just to get a generic one and then still use the type of things like you are showing in the exhibits there?
Yeah, so tents can be quite costly. I do know of a couple companies where if you have like a 10 by 10 frame, they'll print the canopy itself. Depending on how you want the canopy to be printed, they can range anywhere from about $200 to $500. If you're going to do a lot of outdoor events, or if it's something that can be shared amongst multiple groups, or obviously used year in and year out, you know, that can be a great investment. The other thing that you can do to kind of work around it is there are tents that you can buy that have almost a clear sleeve in the bottom portion that you can actually print right in there and then interchange it throughout the year, so that it would be it's about 12 inches high and 10 feet wide that you can brand, and then that becomes a lot more affordable as well. But I'd be certainly happy to work with your groups on their interest in helping with graphics, layout, and just getting an estimate on what they're looking for.
You mentioned working with the event planner, and I know that Carmen, Denise, and I are working on the homeschool parents. We're going out to exhibit at a curriculum fair in Virginia in March, and then one in Frederick in April. And it's interesting if you read the fine print on some of those, like one of them has where you can't have anything behind your table. You can only have things underneath the table and on the table. So do you find that there's things like, even you mentioned selling certain things, especially food at a mall, may not be possible because they have a popcorn place down the way, so you don't want to sell popcorn. So
Right.
you have to get approvals. Or you mentioned the water with ducks. Do you have to get permission to be able to put something like that in front of your table?
Yeah, I mean, I would say yes. So generally what my vendors will do, we'll reach out to them throughout the course of kind of planning the event to find out kind of what people are planning on doing at their booth. But certainly at the kind of confirmation stage of an event, we are telling them of the restrictions, if any, that exist based on the venue. So exactly like that. We would tell them at the outset, no helium balloons, for instance, can be handed out, which is a big one for most indoor venues. No stickers. Apparently there have been issues if you hand out stickers that, people put them in places that then have to be removed later. Food sales is a big one. So yeah, and I would, as the event planner, obviously I want to know what's coming at every given point. As a vendor, sometimes if it's not selling food or health restrictions or things like that, I like to ask for forgiveness rather than asking for permission. But the size and space, I would definitely ask an event planner, how much space do we have and what are the restrictions for anything in front or behind? So some of these events, they do a pipe and drape, so you only have very limited space and they don't want you hanging anything heavy off of the frames or things like that. So I would definitely ask, or is there a place to hang a banner behind us, or what do we need? I'm finding more and more, you obviously can't duck, even at the fairgrounds in Frederick, they don't like you to affix anything to the wall. There's not many places for you to do anything there. So I love the logoed cloths or runners, but many times even if somebody says you can't put anything behind you, the retractable stands are great because you can generally either set them right beside your table or pull them in because they're so their profile is very narrow that it's not going to cause an issue for anyone behind you or anything else. So I would just say, hey, we have a stand-up retractable sign, is that okay? Some may make you put that on the tabletop, but most event planners would say that's fine.
Okay. Now, you've graciously provided some opportunities for 3 of our clubs to be able to have free event space. Can you give us an idea of what it does cost for some of these events? And I know that it's going to depend on what we're looking for, but can you kind of give us an idea of what would be a good value if we were looking out for a fair, festival, or community awareness day or something? What would you recommend or tell us about how much that might cost?
So this is an interesting question. And I've come to learn that I think I have heard I price things more fairly than many events and spaces. So actually, we just had this discussion the other day. I base all of my pricing on expected attendance, right? So when I ask a vendor to pay, I do tiered pricing. So for instance, at my events, you can buy a booth space for, let's say, $150. That is going to be positioned in an area that may not get as much perceived traffic as another area in the mall. So like our center court spaces go for $475, and then we have sponsorship opportunities above that. Personally, before I started doing a lot of events for the community, running them myself, I participated in hundreds from, you know, huge festivals like the Towson Town Festival, for instance, in Towson. You know, they boast over 200,000 attendees. It's over a 2-day period. You get, I believe our spaces were about $350 for the 2 days. The one big thing that you have to kind of think about when you're investing is outdoor events. I mean, the event planner, no matter how great they are, they cannot control the weather, right? Nor can you. Has a huge impact on your attendance. So sometimes I value indoor events higher when I'm a participant than I would an outdoor event, just because of that. Yeah, if it's a perfect day, they're going to get 225,000 people over 2 days. You're not going to talk to nearly all of them, obviously. But if it's at least even the least bit windy, cloudy, 1 drop of rain, 1 drop of snow, dropping below 60 degrees, all of those will impact an event enormously. So it's really important to kind of quantify that in your planning. I always say to people when they say, if I'm selling a discounted space, they say, well, how many people are going to come by my booth in that space? And my comeback to that is, how many do you need, right? So you might not get the volume of center court, let's say, but really you're still going to, if your objective, going back to that quantified objective, I want to get 50 registrations for our volunteer list. If any event planner is decent, no matter where you are, you can be by the worst table in the restaurant by the bathroom, you're going to get the 50 people, right? It's all about you at that point. So I would just kind of look at how much you're willing to invest versus that, you know, the quantified objective, what you can potentially get out of it. And any event should be able to meet that cost analysis, no matter, even if you've invested $1,000 in a space, then obviously your objective is going to change based on that investment, right? Because then you're going to want to get you might want to get 150 volunteers to make that $1,000 investment worthwhile.
Mm-hmm. The last one, and I'm still looking for if there's anybody else that has any questions, please do let us know through the chat feature. Last thing I wanted to talk about is, do you have to have a giveaway for everybody? Because I know a lot of them are probably thinking, well, gosh, we got to have 500 brochures and 500, giveaways and things like that. Is it really that important to have so much giveaways, like at some of these things where everywhere you go, you pick up something to put in that will probably end up in your small drawer in the kitchen?
Right. I would say absolutely not. Right. So I get the clients who are so excited, especially in their first time in working with an event. Right. So what they hear is 5,000 people are going to be at this event, and I watch them truck in boxes of stuff, right? Uh-huh. And it always makes me fearful because I know what an investment that is. So I would have almost tiered handouts. I would have your bright and shiny, flashy brochures for those people that you've actually spoken with and engaged with, and you know that they have more potential to become something of value down the track. They get kind of that. I would also make sure, though, you may have some, and I would say, I'm using a less costly handout. This could be a really nicely done flyer, but it's black and white. You might have done 4 up on a page and been able to copy those at a decent rate. So it still should be branded. It should still look nice, but doesn't have to be full color and all the glossiness. I would definitely try to have about enough to cover 10% of whatever the event planner expects is the attendance, right? So at my events, I would say if you had 500 of those to hand out, kind of willy-nilly, but more kind of in passing, because no matter how many staff members you have, you're not going to be able to talk to everybody passing by, but people are going to look. And that gaze is going to be enough for you to say, hey, please check us out when you get home and like us on Facebook. That small handout should have 2 simple steps to what people can do to help you. So kind of taking your big presentation and squashing it down into 2 of your most important things. Hey, please be sure to check us out on our website. And if you can donate, we would so appreciate it. Or, hey, we're looking to fill 50 volunteer spots. If you and your family would be interested, we would be appreciative if you check us out and go here and register. You know, really something quick and easy that people can do. But I do think it has value in branding your organization and getting people slightly familiar with what you're doing and giving them the opportunity to engage with you guys at a later time, because you just never know those people passing by and what they might become to your organization later. But certainly you don't need something to hand out to every single person.
One other comment that came through too is the possibility of, and I don't know how you feel about this, where you can go to some of these events and take some flyers with you and not exhibit. Do event planners look down on that type of practice, or what would you recommend there?
Yeah, for sure. For sure. That is a faux pas. It's kind of, yeah, look, they what do they call that, Denise? Suitcasing, I think, is what the chamber calls it.
Yeah.
Yeah, look, no event planner likes that, because what it's kind of saying is, hey, your event wasn't valuable enough for us to attend, but we find it valuable enough for us to canvas, right? So that's a definite no-no. However, what I would do, so let's just say there's a huge festival coming up and the booth spaces are $900 and you can't afford to attend. Reach out to the event planner and say, look, tell them exactly that. Hey, we're nonprofit. We can't afford the booth space. Is there some way we can get involved with this event where we might be able to distribute our marketing materials or our brochures, or provide some volunteers to help you loading in, loading out, or whatever in exchange? I'm telling you, there is no event planner on the planet that would turn away free help at the events, or even just answering questions, or maybe working a booth for a little bit. Or most valuable is providing an activity that they would normally have to pay for. So again, the face painting, the balloon animals, if you say, hey, here's what we're willing to do in exchange for being able to hand out our materials, is we'll provide a balloon twister or whatever for 3 hours at your event. I would be surprised if anyone would turn that away as an event person in exchange for either distributing your marketing materials or allowing you to kind of have a dual purpose with your booth space.
We have a question that came in. What is the purpose of having like candy given away? Is candy a good thing to have, and should that be one of your giveaways?
I mean, candy's always great, right? I don't know, you know, it is, people will always take it. My feeling with that is a lot of times they're just going to come up, take the candy, and walk away. I always like something, if possible, that either has some branding available on it or in it. So one affordable thing to do is to get, you can get like little Ziploc bags, put 2 or 3 pieces of candy in there, and maybe a business card sized call to action. You know, thank you for stopping by our booth. Please visit civitan.org online and donate, or donate your time. Again, you're not losing. Everything is an investment. You want to get a return on it no matter how small. So you can go buy Costco huge bags of candy, put 2 or 3 in there. Your cost for each one of those is going to be, you know, maybe 8 to 10 cents. And, you know, your return on that could be huge if you get a few people that follow up with that. Or again, by handing them that candy in little bags, rather than allowing them to take it, you're engaging with them and you have that opportunity to kind of tell them your little 20-second spiel, which may then stop them and you can get further with them. So look, candy always works. I've found some people have done some really creative things with small bottles of water, and they've tied their business card or call to action to the little bottles of water and handed those out, and you can get those for 8 to 10 cents each if you buy in bulk. So there's a lot of great ideas out there, and obviously you're going to want to kind of decide what you want to invest beyond the booth space, what you're expecting to get out of it, and whether that's worthwhile. You're not going to want to hand out $2 per lead if you don't think that that's going to return somehow an investment.
Sounds like based on what you're saying, it might be good not only to have staff at the event or exhibit, but to have somebody that can go and get more water or get more supplies for you, because again, that booth's not going to be very big to hold on to that. So having somebody available to go pick up or deliver things would be good too, right?
I mean, for sure, because sometimes events turn out way bigger than even the event planner expected, right? The worst case is always that somebody runs out and there's still an hour left of an event. So having kind of a backup plan, or again, somebody who can restock as needed is always great. Also planning, instead of going event by event, looking at a calendar of a 3-month period and being able to share things amongst the groups makes things way more affordable. So if you can go to a candy wholesaler, and I do have a contact for you because I order a lot of candy every year, but you can share amongst a group to buy 100 pounds of candy, and sharing that amongst the 3 groups or over 3 to 4 events, then your costs obviously are decreased rather than going to buy it by the bag at Walmart or Sam's or Costco or whatever. So that would help as well.
We had a comment that you can always hide extra supplies under the table when you do have a tablecloth like that.
Yeah.
Another comment was that if you do have a booth at the event, walking around to the other booths, that should be okay, because you have some people that can't get out to your booth and you're going to them. That should be all right, wouldn't it?
You mean just to meet the other people, or to pull from that?
To also to be able to give them a card or a flyer or something like that.
Yeah, for sure. Look, especially if an event has a lull, like there are some events, I can say definitely not mine, because we do events in a short period of time. So I've done that intentionally because it pushes all the traffic. You're always busy. So it's hard to kind of leave, and you certainly don't want to interrupt another vendor who's trying to engage the people, consumers, to give them your card or anything like that. However, before an event starts, I would definitely say you're going to have opportunity to network, certainly to the people immediately around you, but you can certainly walk around, see who's there, and if they're not busy, engage with them. But obviously just keeping in mind that everyone is there kind of for the same objective. They all want to try to get sales. Although I do have, most of my vendors have bought, purchased, or signed up with everyone else at some point or another. So, certainly being friendly and engaging and telling them what you're about and what you're doing there is no problem with that at all.
Yeah. Janice has a question.
Actually, it's more of a comment. So I've been texting with some folks at International about getting one of those retractable displays like they had at the International Convention in Norfolk. I'm going to try and borrow one that we can use for the month of festival, that we have festival scheduled for end of March all the way until the end of April. But if you are interested, the cost is about $125. If you do want the district, now we will only be able to use it until October 1st because of it being a centennial, or maybe December 31st because it is centennial branded. But if you as a club want to pitch in, please let me know that, because if we have enough interest, $125 isn't that much money, and we can certainly share it throughout the district over the next 7-8 months. So just let me know. Thank you.
And I know that Crystal also has a blown up logo, a centennial logo sign that can be used. That's another thing that, if you don't mind, Dani, we do have a lot of things. Lynn's on the attending today, and there are a lot of centennial logoed items so that the Civitans that are there can be wearing logo items or your own logo items for Civitan. But this year, especially with our centennial, the banner, the poster, the logo wear is very important. A lot of this stuff takes time to be able to order. So you've got about a month before that first one in April that Dani's offering. So you do have to kind of look at these very quickly and decide what you're going to get, what you're going to produce, and so forth. And there's a lot of online things, Vistaprint, and those type of things. And Dani, you probably have other printing type things that you're familiar with. I'd like to ask you, maybe you've talked about some different wholesalers and things like that. Maybe you could send us an email of ideas on what we've talked about.
Absolutely. So I've got suppliers. I know most small businesses love Vistaprint, but I've got a supplier out of California who's fantastic. I do probably $25,000 worth of printing each year, and it doesn't matter, the volume doesn't matter, but I'll send you all the links to the suppliers that I've used. That the stuff is very high quality. I've got a banner supplier, so if you're looking for a vinyl banner, I can send you that too online, and generally they can turn around things within 5 to 7 days, so without paying rush charges or anything like that. So it's all very good. I'm happy to do that.
Yeah, and I can email that out to the group because we do survey the group and send out a video and so forth, so I can definitely send that along with it.
Yep.
One other comment, I'm glad they brought this up. Always ask if they have a nonprofit price for exhibiting. We have found, in fact, we have one that was $175, and for a nonprofit, we got it for $75. So that can be huge. Or it can be, if it is a nonprofit event, it can be less expensive. That was a comment by Linda Hadley. Does Dani have any events coming up in Northern Virginia, is a question.
Actually, I just talked with the Springfield Town Center, so we might be doing a Mother's Day event in early May with them. I'm just waiting to confirm, and a back to school event with them as well. So you guys will be the first to know.
Okay. Also had, can you share with us the candy supplier as well? Len right now, and I liked your idea about the little Ziploc bag, but Len is on the attending today, and she's our Centennial Committee Chair. She's got full-size Hershey bars that she wraps with the Centennial logo with the 100th anniversary logo on it. So she's tagged the candy for that purpose. And I think you're right. Just giving out candy doesn't do much, but if you are able to tie it with your logo or a call to action, that's an excellent idea.
Absolutely. That's fantastic. Wow. Full-size Hershey bar. She'd be the favorite house on the street at Halloween.
Exactly. That's the type you go change your costume and go back, right?
Yeah.
All right, well, I don't have any other questions right now, but as we go through the rest of the slides, we can kind of see if anybody has any. And I think the rest of the slides are mine. So Dani, if you want to go ahead, actually go back to the Leandra one. Just wanted to, again, special offer from Leandra. She's actually doing a gig right now today, so she couldn't attend, but she is willing to provide free balloon animals, creations, and so forth at your exhibit. She'll also provide the face painting supplies if you have a volunteer to paint. She can't do both. It is subject to availability because she does have her jobs that she does, but she's obviously gets jobs from these type of things. So that's one of the reasons that she's able to do this. Her phone number and email address is on the screen there. So please do give her a call as soon as you can so that you can book her. And just remember that the space that will take and so forth. Keep that in mind as you make your plans. Next slide is another webinar. Denise has asked us to do another webinar. This would be taking what you've learned so far with the 4 different webinars you've had and start thinking about having a centennial celebration and including recruiting in it, or April Civitan awareness event, then and include recruiting. So now you've got all these names this is going to be a great opportunity for you to be able to do something with those names and invite them to a social event or something like that. This webinar is going to be Sunday, March 5th, a different day and time, 5 o'clock p.m. And go ahead and email me if you would like to attend that webinar. And then lastly, last slide. Thank you so much to Dani Gurrie. Appreciate it so much that she's provided us this webinar at no price. Thanks for all of your great questions and thanks for attending. One other comment came through, can you share the candy supplier as well? So that was a question. So
yep, I'm happy to email all of that through to you, Mark, and then you can share it with your groups.
Okay.
And we'll email out Leandra's information to everybody.
Okay.
Also.
Yeah, we'll send out Leandra's information. Just a reminder, we'll be sending out a survey. We have recorded this, so if you'd like other members in your club to be able to watch it, please watch for that to be available. Thank you again, Dani, and thank you all for attending today. Good record turnout.
Thank you. Awesome.
All right, I'm going to go ahead and turn off the recording.